Hello and welcome to A Brand New Day with BTS, a podcast dedicated to bringing you a day-by-day history and song discussion of the South Korean music group internationally known as BTS. In this week's episode, we talk about Jin's concert, BTS's first Weverse Live together in nearly 3 years, July 7th in BTS History, and Jimin's song Filter and how it relates to the Map of the Soul series. First, BTS activity last week, Saturday, June 28th to Friday, July 5th. It was another really exciting week. Let's start with Jin's tour, which kicked off in Goyang, South Korea last Saturday. RM flew back from Europe for the opening night and watched from the VIP tent with J-Hope and V. No one really knew quite what to expect from a Run Seokjin episode tour. ARMY were making a lot of crazy predictions when Hybe advised ARMY to wear running shoes to the Goyang Stadium. As it turns out, that was to protect the grass. But still, Jin and his team put together a fantastically interactive show. I won't give too many spoilers because some of you might be waiting until you can see the show on tour, but Jin has really made the concert have even more audience involvement, basically making ARMY the special guest on an episode of Run Jin, in which Jin and ARMY complete challenges separately and together. The second half of BTS, Suga, Jimin, and Jungkook, arrived together on day 2 to witness it for themselves. After each concert, all of BTS members with personal Instagram accounts posted about the show, including Yoongi, who posted a single photo of his view partway through the show, officially making that his first post since 2023. Jin also posted photos from each show the next day. And again, no big spoilers, but Jin sounded absolutely amazing at the concerts. Several times I was just completely overwhelmed by the absolute beauty of his voice. I love hearing him sing so much. I'm definitely watching every stream available to me from this tour. While Jin was having his concerts, Balmain Tiger was having a concert somewhere else, and the audience got a surprise RM feature in the VCR that they played between sets. He must have filmed it in the very few days he had between getting out of the military and flying to Europe. RM shared the clip on his Instagram, as well as a photo of a signed Balmain Tiger album he received and a video of him hearing Spring Day in a taxi. Another thing that was filmed at an earlier date and only just aired was J-Hope's appearance on CDTV Live in Japan, which aired on June 30th. He performed the Johnny Gold remix of Sweet Dreams. July 1st was perhaps the most important day of the week, though we didn't know it at first. Jin attended an Aloe event at their Seoul store. RM posted a photo of the Han River. V posted a selfie wearing a funny hat at the Celine store. And Jimin and J-Hope both shared a reel of a bus driver doing the Killing It Girl dance challenge. And then all of a sudden, we got our very first complete OT7 BTS Weverse Live since September 2022. I love that they announced their reunion on the first day of the 7th month. 7 equals 1 and 1 equals 7 when it comes to Bangtan. The live was both a celebration of being reunited and also a chance for them to tell ARMY their plans directly. Now that they're all together, they're going to start working on an album, but they want to work on it together, even more so than before. So they're starting from scratch with it. Their goal is to release a full album in spring 2026, and then embark on their first official world tour since 2019. They plan to work on it at least partially in the United States. Since Jin is going on tour, once he gets to the US leg of his tour in mid-July, they'll join him there. J-Hope has his appearance at Lollapalooza in Berlin to do on July 13th, and then after that he'll fly to the US as well to join. BTS then might follow Jin on his tour when he travels to Europe as well. We'll see. Other than that announcement, the live was just a celebration of giggles and good times. Some of the members, who were more recently discharged, are still trying to get used to civilian life again, or are self-conscious about their looks and are hoping to lose a little weight and have their hair grow out a little bit more before they really return. That was largely Jimin, but the members either agreed with some aspects of his worries or encouraged him to have more self-confidence. Jungkook has replaced his lip piercing, though the new piercing is still fresh, so you can watch him struggle not to touch it the whole live stream. Jimin and Yoongi have both had their piercings close up on them, so need to re-pierce their ears if they want to wear earrings again. Yoongi is still cute. That's a very important update. This is the first time we've seen him on video since 2023, and I couldn't be happier. In the days after the live, I feel like we've all been floating around in happy days. V posted a bunch of photos to Instagram, a lot of selfies, and a photo of him and possibly RM using a ballet bar at the gym. RM posted a photo of a cake that Bottega Veneta gave him, so I'm thinking he's still their brand representative now that he's free. J-Hope posted a Killing It Girl dance challenge with Enhypen and also appeared in a dance challenge video for their song Outside. To wrap up the week, we had J-Hope sharing some more Killing It Girl dance challenges from other people, and RM went to see a classical music ensemble along with director Park Chan-wook, who most will know as the director of the film Decision to Leave, which RM absolutely adores. Meanwhile, V has flown to Paris to resume his position as an ambassador for Celine. This weekend, between me recording this and it being posted, Jin will be performing for 2 days in Chiba, Japan. He's already traveled there and posted that he'd like people to jump at the concert. It'll be interesting to hear how or if his MC style changes for the challenges, or whether he adds in some of their Japanese songs to the set list. I know a few ARMY are hoping that Taka from 1OK Rock might join him for Falling on one of his Japan dates, so let's just all cross our fingers and find out. This day in BTS history, July 7th. July 7th, 2012. J-Hope and Jungkook are backup dancers for Jo Kwon at Music Core as he performs his song I'm the One. Very serendipitously, just this past week, J-Hope did that interview with Teen Vogue about his firsts, which I forgot to mention in the news section. And he named his feature with Jo Kwon on Animal as his first ever song credit. I had mentioned last week that Animal was J-Hope's music show debut, but completely neglected to realize that it would be his first writing credit as well, since he wrote his own rap for the song. Very cool. July 7th, 2013. BTS have a fan sign in Mokdong and an event at a different location that I'm actually going to just avoid pronouncing. The fan sign is in the mall. Jin and V tweet a selfie together. RM tweet recommends the song Talking to the Moon by Bruno Mars and says he used to listen to it while looking at the moon during his troubled trainee period. July 7th, 2014. BTS are in Los Angeles, still filming American Hustle Life, like I mentioned last week when I talked about June 30th. I don't know exactly what episode of it they were filming here, but Jin tweets a photo of the ocean, and RM tweet recommends Change by T-Pain. Last week I talked a little about the cringe factor of American Hustle Life and the very rough start to the series, but this week let's talk about the other reason that this time was really rough for BTS. Not only were BTS filming a reality show all day, but they were also working on their album Dark and Wild, which they had to finalize in a very tight time frame, which meant working on it in the garage of a house that BOPD and P-Dog rented out, not far from the American Hustle Life filming location. Eventually, a local studio owner helped them out, and they recorded at his studio during the nights. BTS still record at that studio to this day when they were using American backing musicians, singers, or choirs in the area. But what that meant was that BTS were getting up early in the morning to film a reality show each day. Then after they were done filming, they were going to work on music or record the album until around 3 in the morning, then still needing to wash up before bed. All of this during the heat of a California summer as well. They were surviving on maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep per night, tops, for like 2 weeks. And actually, this stretches into the day that I'll talk about next week too. So I'll talk a little bit more about the repercussions of that next episode. Dark and Wild is an absolutely fantastic album though, just in case you haven't sat down to listen to it in a bit. So the fact that BTS just announced that they are going back to the States to work on their next album, when the last album they worked on in the States was Dark and Wild, has everybody very excited for what's to come. July 7th, 2015. BTS have just finished wrapping up their music show promotions for Dope, and they're just about to go travel to Australia for the Red Bullet tour. So it appears that they may have actually had a day off on this day, or close to it. Jimin tweets a picture of his transit card and a selfie on public transit and says that it's been a while. RM recommends some music. Jin tweets a mirror selfie from an amusement park, and V tweets a photo of himself and his friend Park Bogum having some fun. July 7th, 2016. I don't know what BTS were up to on this day. This was just after the time that BTS had come under fire for supposed misogyny in their previous releases. It was all pretty groundless. But nevertheless, BTS apologized and were fairly quiet on social media for a day or two after the apology. But in happier news, Bon Voyage had just begun airing. On this day, we got the behind for episode 1, which had aired just 2 days previously. This was Bon Voyage Season 1, which they had filmed in Northern Europe. July 7th, 2017. I have no idea what they were doing. The only activity we see is that RM tweets to recommend some music, but they may have been moving into their new studio spaces now that the company could afford bigger offices. This is a very, very small lull between the Wings Tour Japan and the filming of the Love Yourself highlight reel and preparations for both their Love Yourself Her comeback and their special guest appearance at Sao Taeji's 25th anniversary concert in Seoul. July 7th, 2018. BTS are in Taiwan at the SBF Super Concert in Taipei. Jin tweets a selfie with a paper fan that he picked up on the stage, and Jimin also tweets selfies of himself and Jin. July 7th, 2019. BTS are in Osaka, Japan, during the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself tour. They post a lot of selfies after the concert. Weverse is now a thing, fairly recently launched, so there's a lot of commenting back and forth on each other's posts there as well. This is also the day that Hyze? This is also the day that Hyze releases We Don't Talk Together, which is a song produced by Suga. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name of, July 7th, 2020. It's the pandemic, so I have less visibility into what they're doing day to day. But today, JK posts a selfie to Weverse and says that he just finished reading a book, and he's amazed that a day came when he read a book. It's a Tuesday, so we get Run BTS episode 107, which is BTS playing video games at a little studio PC cafe. July 7th, 2021. Butter is still number 1 on the Hot 100 for the 6th week in a row. Jin, RM, Suga, Hobie, and JK all post on Weverse expressing their thanks, with Suga wondering if they'll be able to do a baton pass with the upcoming release of Permission to Dance. BTS also model for Louis Vuitton Men's Fall-Winter 2021 digital fashion show held in Seoul. Hobie tweets selfies from the shoot after the fashion show is released. At this point, all 7 members of BTS were brand ambassadors for Louis Vuitton. This may have also been when they were filming their performances for BBC Radio 1 Live Lounge. July 7th, 2022. RM posts a photo with Park Ho-shin. You may recognize that name from the recent collab that he did with V called Winter Ahead. RM also posts art and general Namjoon adventure photos. Hobie, meanwhile, is teasing his upcoming album and merch by posting a video of him lighting a candle that says arson and captioning it, Burn and Done. July 7th, 2023. RM begins recordings for Around the World in a Day, which will be released on his album Right Place, Wrong Person. If you want to see some of the making of this absolutely fantastic song, you can watch his documentary RM Right People, Wrong Place on Weverse. RM also posted his MBTI results are now ENFP-T. On YouTube, Hybe Labels posts Jungkook 7 campaign short film, which is just Jungkook posing for the camera while sitting on a stool, wearing leather pants and a plain white t-shirt for about 17 seconds and being gorgeous. July 7th, 2024. Jin posts some selfies in the recording booth, no doubt hard at work on what will eventually become his album Happy. The rest of the boys are enlisted, but RM, Jimin, and J-Hope managed to use their phone time to post a little. RM posts Come Back to Me with a rain emoji. J-Hope comments on Jin's post with the word cute, and RM comments as if annoyed. And finally, Jimin shares the latest teaser for his album Muse. And July 7th this year, Jin will have just wrapped up his Chiba concerts, and Bangtan is getting ready to start their traveling song camp as they work on their next big project. Song discussion. Filter by Jimin. Filter is a solo song by Jimin released on the BTS album Map of the Soul 7 in February 2020. It's Jimin's 3rd official solo song on a BTS album after Lie on the Wings album and Intro Serendipity on Love Yourself Her. Map of the Soul 7 is part of their series of albums that explore Carl Jung's theory of self, which is comprised of a persona, a shadow, and the ego. While initially intended to be a 3-part series, similar to their previous trilogies, they were only able to release Map of the Soul Persona before unexpected delays and approaching deadlines made them combine the Shadow and Ego albums into one, which became Map of the Soul 7. Just to give a really quick overview, in the Jungian concept of self, persona is the part of yourself that you present to the world. It's who people interact with when they interact with you. The shadow is made up of the things that you hide away about yourself, the things you see as negative, or the things that don't fit into that public persona. The ego is what you achieve when you are able to recognize both your persona and your shadow and embrace both as important parts of you, with neither overpowering the other. As I said when we discussed Jungkook's song My Time, I like to play a little game of guessing what song would have been on Shadow and what song would have been on Ego. I see Black Swan as the title track for Shadow and On as the title track for Ego. Filter is on the track list directly after Black Swan, so I fully believe it would have appeared on the Shadow album. So keep that in mind when we talk about the meaning later. That's going to inform how I view the song a little. Before we get into the lyrics and meaning, though, let's talk about performances. Like all tracks on Map of the Soul 7, our ability to have many performances of Filter was taken away by the pandemic. As a result, there are only 2 performances of Filter, both sung live to camera, but pre-recorded for their Map of the Soul 1 concert in October 2020. For those wondering, these performances do have edits in them, and aren't one continuous performance. The reason is because of the theme of the song, which is that Jimin is a chameleon who can change appearances based on the audience's desires. Because of the theme, Jimin wanted to do a quick change on stage. However, in practice, when he tried to wear the amount of clothes required for the quick change, not only did he have difficulty performing the quick change in time, but he also found the additional clothes interfering with his ability to perform well at all. They caused him to tire quicker and get overheated. So it was decided that they do the quick change through editing instead. Still, you can watch him attempt the quick change in the Map of the Soul 1 concert DVD behinds. The performance sees Jimin using a lot of props to put on and take off different accessories before finally doing the quick change to reveal a different outfit entirely for the final bridge, chorus, and outro. The entire performance is choreographed to suit Jimin's contemporary style, and he pulls it off really elegantly. Filter was produced by Tom Wickland and written by 10 people, with some familiar names to BTS's in-house production team, namely Hitman Bang and Bobby Chung being the 2 ones I recognize the most. RM explained in his 7 Behind V Live that although he usually helps the members with their solo songs, when he reached out to Jimin to see how his song was coming along, Jimin had already done it so perfectly with the in-house production team that there was really no need for RM to contribute, and RM thinks it ended up better without his involvement. RM does explain in the live that all solo songs are always made through discussion with the members and the in-house production team about what they want to communicate, how they're feeling at the moment, and what style or concept they want to explore. So although we don't have Jimin credited as a writer on this song, we can assume that his thoughts and feelings did go into it, but were presented and incorporated into the song likely by Hitman Bang instead of himself. Jimin hasn't talked much about the meaning of Filter. In his live stream after the album was released, he only talked about Filter as being a new style that he hasn't done before, so he used it as an opportunity to show something new. As someone who is deeply thoughtful about his music, however, I'm thinking that Jimin was present for all discussions, fully aware of the content of the song, and fully comfortable with associating himself with the message of it. For the discussion of this song, I consulted Dulcet, Bangtan Subs, and Colin's translations. I'm not sure if Colin has his Filter translation up on his website Choreomos yet, but I had saved it before he deleted his Twitter, so I had it on my hard drive. Colin had an interesting preamble before his translation of the song. He put Jimin into the cultural context of Busan. The stereotype for men in Busan, which has a lot of truth to it according to Colin, is that they are masculine, stoic, curt, and basically the opposite of Jimin. Colin wonders how Jimin managed to extricate himself from this path. But I'd argue that if you hear Jimin speak about his father or have the opportunity to meet the man at his cafe in Busan, it becomes clear that Jimin had a lot of support in being his lovely, playful, and emotional self. Also, as many longtime ARMY know, Jimin distancing himself from the hyper-masculine image of both Busan and hip-hop was not an easy process for him, and he did struggle with it for several years before finally reaching a healthier place with self-presentation. Colin sees Filter as a song about confidence, about showing off how hard Jimin has worked on his performance, so that he can show any side of himself that is desired. The song is seductive, with Jimin delivering the lines with a fair bit of erotic flair or playful teasing. Much like many ARMY believe Jin's epiphany is a response to his song Awake, having Filter be about confidence in Jimin's self-presentation would definitely be a fitting resolution to his song Live from the Wings album that we've discussed previously. As a side note, I now think that Jin's song To Me Today is actually the true response to his song Awake, but I will talk about that when we get to that song. As I discussed with Lie, you can interpret Lie as it being about how Jimin feels a lot of pressure to act a certain way, to be smooth like a snake, more predator, less prey, i.e. hard, not soft, stoic, not sensitive. And the lie of pretending to be those things that he's not is destroying him. The interpretation of Filter showcasing, with confidence, the breadth and range of Jimin's personality, how it's an asset, not a fault, that he can be sensitive, cute, strong, or whatever is desired, is definitely spitting in the face of the previous pressure to conform only to the masculine ideal. An example of this sonically in the song is how he'll sometimes begin a verse or a phrase with an okay in a lower masculine speaking voice, before jumping back into his more delicate feminine singing voice. And on that note, let's get into the lyrics. Jimin begins with immediately grabbing your attention. From head to toe, your body is exuding boredom. Please look at me now. Put down your smartphone. Don't even think about turning away from me. Let me know your type. You can pick and use one of me. The pre-chorus is already getting suggestive. Oh, I shall blindfold you with my hands. Imagine all your secret wishes. I will bring you to a completely new world. Yeah, open your eyes now. Go. Dulcet translates the line as I will bring you to a completely new world, while Colin translates it to you shall experience something totally new. I like the completely new world translation, just because later in the song we get Aladdin references, and I can't help but think of the song A Whole New World from the Disney Aladdin soundtrack. The chorus gives us the reason for the title. Mix the colors in the palette. Pick your filter. Which of me do you want? Change your world with that thought. I'm your filter. The last line of the chorus, Dulcet translates it to apply it to your heart, whereas Colin translates it to make me come alive, with however you wish in brackets. Dulcet seems to be the more literal translation, based on Papago, and also based on the idea of Jimin being a filter, as in a filter for a photo that you'd find on Instagram or Facebook, where you put your photo in and put a filter over it to make it something new. So apply it to your heart makes sense with the filter theme. But Colin's interpretation does drive home the type of control that the person Jimin's singing to has over his image. Jimin is changing based on their wishes. They're falling in love with him because he's fulfilling their secret desires. In the second verse, Jimin throws in the Aladdin references. Okay, am I getting you excited? Is it not enough yet? Girl, you have your chance. I can be your genie. How about Aladdin? I will become anything for you. Just use me any way you like. Personally, although I know I referenced Disney's Aladdin earlier, I see the genie reference in this verse not so much as genie, Disney, but rather genie, I dream of. Jimin is indeed granting wishes, but he's also very much playing with two ends of the spectrum of what he can be for you. If you want Aladdin, he could do that for you. If you want something else, he also has you covered. For the second pre-chorus, Jimin gets even steamier. I will wrap you in my arms like your dream. They are secret specifications. For you, I will be a chameleon each day, because it's boring being the same every day. For the bridge, Jimin decides to remind us all that he could be our genie or our Aladdin, but he could also be cute. Now, of course, in order to understand the sexiness of the bridge, we have to take ourselves out of the Western mindset, where being childish is the opposite of sexy, and instead understand that in other cultures, acting cute or like a little kid when you are a grown adult is considered attractively endearing. In the bridge, Jimin sings, I turn into a child all of a sudden. The more you look, the cuter I get. It drives you crazy. But then we get to my favorite line of the song, which I think really sums up what people call the Jimin effect. Jimin sings, "Neither preferences nor standards matter in front of me. You end up only wanting me. Yeah, because it's you who made me." There's a running joke in the fandom about straight guys falling in love with Jimin, that no matter who you are or what you think your tastes are, you end up falling for Jimin. People can and will project the image that they want onto Jimin. If you're a straight girl, Jimin can be a straight boy for you. If you're a straight boy, it's not so bad to also fall for Jimin, right? Just watch the Serendipity music video and see how soft and feminine he looks. Even in the stage performances of this song, Jimin takes clothes off a female mannequin to try on, while he sings about mixing the colors of the palette to be anything you like. I'd have to do more research on how many lesbians are in love with Jimin, but the point is that you might think that your preferences and sexuality is a hard line in the sand, but have you met Jimin yet? Jimin closes the song by saying that he's the only one that can satisfy you, and then singing the soft outro of, "We will become a new us," or, as Cullen translates, "You and I will change for the better." In making Jimin something new, something that fulfills your desires, while also going past the preferences you thought you had, you and Jimin will become new people. Jimin becomes new in whatever version you've chosen, and you become new as someone who perhaps has opened your mind a little more, rather than drawing hard lines in the sand of your desires. To me, the lyrics of this song very much sound like people writing about Jimin and his effect on an audience, rather than necessarily Jimin writing about himself. Namely because the song is about Jimin's stage persona, or what he presents to the world when he performs. So why was this song not on the Persona album? Why is it nestled directly after what would have been the title track to the Shadow album? My theory is that it's because this song really is about who Jimin is to the audience. This is about Jimin's ability to seduce. But is it also about Jimin himself? Or is it the point of view of someone who is everything to everyone and therefore unknowable in any true fashion? Are Jimin's many faces a way to continue to obfuscate and keep the shadow hidden behind a pretty persona? Who knows? It could just be a really fun song about how amazing and seductive Jimin is as a performer. Or both. Both is always good. And now it's time to spin the random song generator for next week. I might change the format of this podcast a bit in the fall, FYI, but for now we'll stick with the random song generator to choose songs. And the winner is, oh my goodness, Lilith by Halsey featuring Suga. I love this song. So that will be my first Halsey song discussion. Be slightly different than normal. And next episode will also be possibly the last episode on the regular schedule. After that, I might switch to every 2 weeks, or I might do another one after a week. Anyway, I'll update you week by week until the end of August, probably. And then I'll try to get back on the regular schedule. But this summer is about to get busy. All right. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. If you'd like to discuss this episode, or next week's song, or have a say in what song gets chosen in the future, you can find me on Patreon and Ko-fi at A Brand New Day Pod. You can also find me on Blue Sky at A Brand New Day Pod, or you can email me at abrandnewdaypod@gmail.com. Thank you. Have a good day.